posted that picture on my Instagram. The crazies came out swinging. What the hell was I thinking when I posted that? One little comment can start a fire. Seems we all have to feed the flame. Pack up your bags, get out of town. Everybody knows your name. Oh, it's true, there's a conspiracy. I know because I read it in the newsfeed. Ideas about religion and politics, two sides, along with the ridiculous.
All right, welcome everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome to our podcast, Billy Livesay of the Livesays. Billy, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I'm here.
You know, we were just talking before that we had an opportunity to work with you at the 2022 Pines Arts Fest. And one of the pictures that we cherish as a family is the one that we took with the entire band. We were just so impressed just with your performance, your engagement with the audience, just the interaction that each of you had with each other on stage. We're a musical family, so when people are having fun and they're putting on their best performance, it really inspires us. So welcome to the podcast again,
Well,
Billy.
thank you very much. Yeah, we usually have fun, but whatever we do, it's usually by accident. So,
You know, a friend of mine, we always say, you know, see you at the end, and we'll see what happens in between, right?
yeah, there you go.
Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, why don't you describe your style of music?
You might say I call it neoclassic rock
Okay.
because we come from that classic rock place, where we grew up on the Beatles and the Stones and 60s soul music. And then it's sort of evolved over time, because different influences come into the mix. And then, you're always trying to, stay relevant, which is very hard to do. And so, over the years, it's kind of evolved that way. In the beginning, when we first started playing, we were listening, there was no FM radio. We listened to AM radio. We had the little plugs that we'd put in our ear and with a little transistor radio underneath the pillow when we went to bed at night and listened to the music of what was on at the time, which was the Beatles and the Stones and 60s soul and R&B. And then over time, it just sort of evolved. Once I became a musician, you know, and then we sort of evolved listening to 70s rock. Then Bruce Springsteen came along, and I was really influenced by Springsteen. And then, I was in a band that traveled around the country all the time, still do somewhat now, but not as much. And then in late 1990s, I actually became the guitar player with Clarence Clemons, who was the saxophone player for Bruce Springsteen. And I'm on a record with Bruce Springsteen. So that is sort of like, I wouldn't say a dream come true, but it's more like just, it's still not real, I mean, looking back. So I was really fortunate. I don't think it was a question of me being great. I think I just kind of understood the music, and that's why I was able to play with Clarence, because he could have had a bunch of younger guys to fill the spots that he had in his band, but I think it was more important to him to have people that understood the music. So,
that reminds me of, I feel like some of the greatest musicians in the world, they were great on their own, but they had an ability to recognize talent and also musicianship. I think that's also important, which I think today in many respects has become a lost art. And that's what I hear you saying. It's like you understood what it meant to be a musician. It wasn't just about, how well you can shed.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, when you're playing in a band situation too, uh, my band is different because I'm sort of the guy. I'm fortunate to have the guys that I have, around me. These guys I went to high school, actually went to high school with. So and how that evolved was a whole nother story. We don't have enough time, but you know, um, playing in a band and adapting to what they like for instance, what Clarence wanted me to do and the role that I would play, because everybody has their own role,
Right.
a role to play, and you don't really have to be great. You just have to be good enough to fill the space and understand what the music is about, when to play and when not to play. That's
Now you mentioned a number of folks. You mentioned the Beatles. You obviously mentioned Springsteen. Who of the folks that you mentioned you would say really had the most impact on you?
well, in the beginning, it was pretty much the music of the time, because I was a kid. I started playing probably when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And then you're playing and then you're being inundated. You're learning cover songs. And naturally we learned cover songs by the Beatles and the Stones, and we were doing, the Wilson Pickett's and the Sam and Daves and doing that stuff. And then when the 70s came, we were playing the Allman Brothers and Bruce Springsteen. And then the 80s came. We kind of were in our own pocket by then. We had developed our own sort of style. And then when we got into the 90s, it was that's when mainly started writing.
Mm,
I wrote previous, but I wasn't one of the major songwriters in the band that I was in.
yeah.
So I actually in the 90s I started writing more. I got a publishing deal, and then when I got a publishing deal, they told me you need to put a band together and learn these songs so that you can go out and play them. And so that's when I started working with some of the guys now in the Livesays.
Well, tell me about the band. And I got to admit, and I'm pretty sure you get this all the time. When I first saw the name, I mispronounced it. Do you get that a lot?
All the time. And it was funny, the guy that I actually formed the band with, his name was Eddie Zine. And Eddie was the drummer. Eddie was a former drummer for Hall and Oates.
Mm,
He was in the Hall and Oates 70s band. And he went on to play with Rick Derringer, and he did a world tour with the Monkees in 1989. So when we put this band together, I had stopped playing in the early 90s. I got married, I had a son, I stopped playing, so that's when I mainly started writing. Then when I hooked up with Eddie, he said, "Well," I said, "What do you want to call it?" And he goes, "Well, let's call it the Livesays." I go, "That's a terrible name." I go, People will be saying the Livesays and the Livesays and this and that." And sure enough, the very first show that we did, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Livesays," and it was like, it's sort of like the Oneaters, that movie, that thing you do with Tom Hanks.
uh-huh.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they had a band that was called the Wonders. They
Yes.
spelled their name Oneders, and so people kept calling them the Oneaters. So it's sort of the same thing, It's like it's not the Leviseys, it's the Livesays or the Livesays, So I always say,
I think it's a cool name. Well, dig in just a little bit into just the formation of the band. I know you started it with the drummer. How did you add the other pieces?
well, the other I was playing in a when I started after I quit playing music, and I
Mhm.
didn't quit playing music, but I mean playing live.
Right.
Um, I started to get back into it. I got asked to sing for this blues band. So these friends of mine, they needed a singer. So I go, yeah, that might be kind of cool because I'll be singing stuff that I'm not used to singing. It'll make me a better singer, and they work a lot. So I started doing that, and then when I was writing, then the publisher told me you got to put this band together. So I used the sax guy, and I used the bass player that I have now, who I went to high school with, and the drummer, my drummer Eddie, who passed away in 2018. So we put the band together, and then some friends of ours. We had, keyboard player. Originally, the bass player was the drummer from Pat Travers. His name was Mars Calling, who has also since passed away. And then just over time, over a period of time, just members came in and out. And then about 2010, I, after playing with Clarence for such a long time, I loved, I was with Clarence for 12 years. I loved the way that he set his band up with two keyboard players, one piano player and an organ player. Well, that's exactly the way Springsteen set his band up. He had an organ player, he had a piano player. So I got that influence there, and I started thinking, well, if the two keyboard guys can sing, it'll be kind of cool because it'll keep the music organic, because I'm not really into synthesizers and such. So, we just have organic piano, organic Hammond organ, which was a great sound, which is retro, completely retro classic from the 60s. And so this guy Cookie, I knew him from high school. And I went to this reunion of this show of bands that we used to see when we were kids, like 13, 14, 15 years old. And he happened to be there. So I started talking to him and said, hey, listen, I've got these songs that I've been recording. I need somebody to come play organ. What would you charge me? He goes, oh, I won't charge you nothing. I'll just come, we'll play, we'll have some fun, and we'll do it. So he came in, we did some recording, and then we started talking, and he goes, well, I don't work with anybody. Let's, I'd love to play with you guys, I said, that's great. So that was in 2010. And then a couple of months later, I needed an air conditioner for my garage so I could spending too much money outside, and I was going to start rehearsing in my garage. I asked this other friend of mine, hey, you know any air conditioning guys? He goes, yeah, I know this air conditioning guy I think you went to school with. And I said, yeah. I go, what's he? Goes, his name's Tim Murphy. So I go, Tim Murphy? He goes, yeah, he plays piano too. I go, no kidding. He goes, so I got on the phone with him right away. I go, hey, Tim, how you doing? I said, I understand you play piano, but so long story short, I got a piano player, I got an organ player. I went back to my bass player that I had from the 80s. He lives right around the corner. And then so my band was complete at that time. So
wow. My daughter and I, we were talking this week. We were looking back through some of the previous podcasts we did, and it's crazy how this theme of friendships from the past, it's like a constant theme of, and I think that's what really contributes to a lot of the chemistry that takes place on stage, between bands. It's people loving each other, people having history with each other. It's almost like I love the interaction between like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like in the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12. It's like they look at each other, they're not really saying anything, but they know what each other's thinking. It's kind of
exactly.
like that's what happens on stage when you know the people around you, and there's that history there.
Right. Well, with Cookie, we went to high school together. With Tim, the piano guy, I knew him from high school. I didn't know him that well, but I knew who he was. And we're all from Hialeah. So, me, the bass player, Cookie, Tim, and then like I said, Eddie passed in 2018, and we added the drummer Howard Goldberg, and Howard was he was in the band for about a little over a year until we got the drummer that we have now, and that was great too because how everything's sort of evolved. Everything everybody kind of really gets along now. I mean,
Yeah.
egos get in the way sometimes, but everybody knows there's nothing personal. When we were younger, it was always personal. So you get into these fights and arguments and stuff, but now everybody's, a bit mellower. And so if we have a problem, we take it out in our performance on stage. I found that some of the best performances I ever had were ones that I had arguments with the guys before I went on stage. And
Well, you know, it might be a recipe for some great music. Make sure you press record. You might get some of your best performances. You know, there's a lot of bands out there who are performing, you know, within your genre as well. Obviously, you know, you've recorded quite a bit. Just told us you recorded with one of the greats, right, Bruce Springsteen. But what makes your band? What makes the Livesays unique?
hmm, yeah, uniqueness is a tough one. It's just the fact that just we keep evolving and try to be who we are,
Mhm.
try not to be something else, because a lot of times, you know, you'll try to bend with the trends, and you know, and it's not really in your wheelhouse. You're sort of like, you know, going that way just because the time called, but things come back around all the time,
Yeah,
you
so
know.
true.
So the way music is, so you know, we try to, for me, because I'm listening to so much different kinds of music today, you know, I mean, I'm inspired by, say, you know, Leon Bridges. You know, I mean, I really like what he, because he's old school, you know, and but he brings a new twist kind of, and I so when I write, I tend to, you know, try to take from all these influences and just and still try to be me.
Yeah, now that's awesome, and I think that's so important, you know, especially in this day and age, because you know I think a lot of kids look at social media and it's like, man, only if I can do that, and it's like, well, is that who you are? Is that
Right.
what you should be doing? You know, does that maximize your abilities, your skills? And so I think that is such, you know, good advice for someone such as yourself who's had a lot of success in this industry. And you've recorded how many albums so far?
Well, well, the Levacies have 5 CDs out. Um, it's, you know, obviously no one buys CDs anymore,
Yeah.
so it's not really cost effective. So now I've got all this material that I just keep kind of piecemealing as singles. So we
Mm.
just released 2 new singles. One of the singles is brand new. It's called "Make It Happen." That's on, you know, all the streaming services, Spotify, and the other single is a remake of a song that we recorded on our 2011 album Rose
Mm.
Colored Glasses. It's called "Somebody,"
Mm.
and so we wanted to record that with the drummer that we have now. So we took and recut it, and we released that one as a single, and that's called "Somebody," and the other one is "Make It Happen."
Awesome, awesome. Hey, please make sure you guys check out the Levacies. Billy, thank you so much. But hey, but before you go, we want to open it up to our friends of EMG. Hey, do you guys have any questions for Billy? We did have one question that came in earlier that asked, how do you feel about Hendrix? So I'm assuming that's Jimi Hendrix.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Hendrix was a big influence on me. I mean, is all the guitars from the, you know, the Eric Claptons and the Carlos Santanas and the Jimmy Pages and, you know, George Harrison, you know, Keith Richards, you know, Jimi Hendrix. They all, in their own way, had some sort of influence on me and the way I play.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions from our friends of EMG? All right, how long have you been playing guitar?
Well, I'm 73. Okay,
Man, you
so
look good for 73, Billy.
well, thank you. I'm 73. I've been playing since I was like 12 years old. But you would think after playing 12 years old, you know, I mean, it's weird because now guitar players are a dime a dozen. I mean, there's so many guitar players and they're so good. I see these young guys that are, you know, I can't do a lot of the things that they can do, but you know, I do me well.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. I love that. I do me well. One more question from our friends. Any formal music training?
uh, only the only formal training that I have, I can say it's not really formal, but I started taking voice lessons about, say 15 years ago.
Mm.
And it's really, I mean, I'm a much better singer now than I was when I was way younger. I mean,
Mm.
it's just taught me how to take care of myself, how to warm up, how
Ooh.
to warm down, do's and don'ts, things like that. It's a online, it's actually an online company called Singing Success. Guy's name is Brett Manning, and he's the voice coach for like Keith Urban, Taylor Swift, people like that. Um, how to repair the voice after, you've done a few shows that you've really strained a lot.
Yeah.
So the
That,
voice is pretty much the only one I've done.
that's so important because I think that unless you're really a musician and you do this professionally, some people don't think of the voice itself as an instrument, but it is. It's the oldest instrument that exists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole routine that I have to do. I mean, I have to be in the gym every day if
Mm.
I because when we go to do our show next Sunday, you want me to play 80 minutes or so, it could be 90 degrees,
Yeah.
and that takes its toll. So
Mm.
being that, I'm standing up, I'm carrying a less, an 8 pound Les Paul, and
Yeah.
you know, and trying to put it, perform the best of my ability, that's, I have to be in the gym. I have to do warm up in the morning. I have to make sure I drink a lot of water. I have to warm up before the show. And then after the show, I have to warm down. So
Wow. Billy, this is really good stuff, man. This is like made for social media stuff that you're sharing right now. So I'm glad that you're on my podcast sharing all of this. Hey everyone, let's thank Billy Livesay of the Livesays. Man, you guys got to come out and watch the performance. If you guys do not come out to this performance, I am coming personally to your house. I'm going to track all of you down because I know where all of you guys live. You guys got to come to the show. Hey, Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Billy and the crew is going to go on about 4:35 during that time. We'll make sure that we give Billy a good spot so he can do his warm-ups as well. And those of you who are joining us from out of town, remember www.savorthesounds.com. You can type that in, and please make sure you go to the site and make sure you hit the notification button so that you guys can get the notification when we go live. We typically go live 5 minutes before the show, and that's where we show all of our supporters, our friends of EMG overlay. And on that same page, if you missed any of our previous shows, you have no excuse, folks. You can go back and watch all of the shows. We got a little clip there as well. And then we also have our event photos there as well. All right. And a couple of other things to keep in mind that we want all of you to become a friend of EMG. Here in the Nelson household, the Nelson family, we love live music and we love great musicians and we love great people like Billy. And we want to continue to support and uplift what they're doing. Hey, but we need your help. There's 5 things you can do here: give, pray, show up, share, and help. And guess what? Through the support of you, our friends, in particular, Orland and Crystal Glasgow, man, they've done an excellent job of keeping our website up to date. So you can go to friendsofemg.com. And then guess what? Because of Orland and Crystal, they've done something great. You can send this to other people who you think would be great to become a friend of EMG. And then when you click on the page, you'll see something at the bottom that says, I want to become a friend of EMG. And then you click on that, and then guess what? It takes you to the bottom of the page. Then whomever you send it to, they can click one of 4 things. You can give, you can show up, you can share on social media. If you are on social media all the time, every time we post something, if you want to be the person to share it with other people, share it with your group, that is super helpful for us. Or if you want to help and volunteer at the shows, we appreciate that as well. And then also Crystal and Orland, they're working on our merch page. Man, they're doing an awesome job getting it set up. So, hey, keep in mind, we're going to have EMG merch available very soon. Thank you, Orland and Crystal, again. But we do have the Jazz Hip Rock Fest logos, and then we have the EMG Black History Month limited edition. That's still available as well. But I know what you guys really came for. You came for the raffle. That's why you guys are here. That's why you're here for the raffle. So, hey, we're going to do a raffle. We're raffling off two things. We're going to raffle off this. Listen, not even my family has this right here that I have on right now. The Heather Gray, I'm the only one that has it. And guess what? As a friend of EMG, you guys are going to have an opportunity to get that. And then also we're going to raffle off here actually, hold on. A message just came in. The merch page is live. Oh my goodness. See, that's like getting something on in my ear here. It's shopemg.store. Here, let me put that in there. Shopemg.store. All right, there we go. I think I got it. Nope, that's shop. There we go. Let's try it. Third time's a charm. All right, there we go. Shopemg.store. Thank you, Lydia. All right, well, hey, it's 3:30. We're going to get right to the raffle. Let me bring that up here. You must be present to win. You must be present to get the present. All right. You guys ready? All right. If you guys had tickets, I know you'll rub the tickets. Here we go. All right, is the Gregg family present? I don't think I saw them on the, nope. We're gonna remove that. We're gonna keep going. So this is for the, hang on. Let's see. Oh, this is close. Catania, I think. Catania's not here? Nope, remove. We're gonna keep going here. I mean, last time, it was just two people right out of the back there. Martha Sapp. Well, we saw Martha today, but I don't think she's on. We're going to keep going, folks. Just let all these folks know that they missed out. Oh, is Orland and, hold on, what, Claudia Slater? No. All right, that's removed. We're going to keep going, folks. It's okay. Must be present to win. Oh, man. Oh, I think she just joined. Mom, you're on the call.
Yes.
All right. So do you want the water bottle or do you want the Heather Gray t-shirt?
Great t-shirt.
You want the gray t-shirt? All right, gray t-shirt it is. All right, awesome. Congrats. She must be walking with the Lord right, honestly, because she just got on, folks. So I don't know how she worked that out.
Wow. It's
not
right.
an inside job.
You're right, Jerry. I just finished praying and I just got right on your thing as soon as I finished praying. So yes.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna keep going. One more here. Rachel, I think I saw you. Are you here? Yes. Rachel, you win the water bottle. Congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you. Billy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, man. Well, we look forward to having you next week, March 23rd, 4 p.m., Charles F. Dodge City Center. See all of you guys there. Take care.
I didn't know what I was getting into when I posted that picture on my Instagram. The crazies came out swinging. What the hell was I thinking when I posted that? One little comment can start a fire. Seems we all have to feed the flame. Pack up your bags, get out